Rumba greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to talk about Mopao Mokonzi, the boss of Congolese music, the man that introduced money, luxury, and elegance into the industry. Maybe we can consider the fact that before Mopao Mokonzi happened, we had very famous and successful orchestras like the TPOK Jazz, Afrisa International, Zaiko Langa Langa, that later on disintegrated into Langa Langa Stars, Shock Star, and Viva la Musica. The reason why I call him the boss of African music, or Congolese music to be precise, is because there are so many things that he initiated that has pictured or changed the color or the way things happen in the industry of Congolese music. One of the things that Mopao did was to ensure that he looked well when he looked good when he was in public. He had keen interest on outfits, when he's performing live or when he's on interviews. He really was keen about how he was presenting himself. Of course, as at this time the wave of sapology was already there in the then Zaire, which means it was important for a star, for example, to wear a mark or a designer outfit. Another thing that Koffi Olomide brought into the industry was something called, monetizing these things called mabanga. Mabanga are like the dedications that, that you hear when you listen to the music. You hear them mentioning names of public figures, prominent business people, journalists or sportsmen and women, people who have money were being mentioned into songs. Mopao Mokonzi was someone who initiated monetizing this. It means if he is supposed to mention you or sing a song about you, then you have to pay him for that. I do not need to prove to you that, but as you can see, there's a very big difference between the artist that happened after Mopao and artists that were before Mopao. Money-wise, the artists that we have today have a lot of money as compared to those that were singing before Mopao happened. This is because the artists have realized that, you can sell your music, you can sell your dedications, you can shoot your videos abroad and have them look good and in good quality for them to be sellable. The person that initiated selling mabangas was none other than Mopao Mokonzi. As somebody who is very intellectually, blessed, he's a smart man. Of course, he learned a few things when he was studying abroad, I want to believe, because when Mopao Mokonzi was starting his career, of course, thereafter we realized that, he was showing his house. It was important for an artist to live in a good place. It's important for an artist to buy cars and not just any cars, just, cars that are expensive, luxurious cars. This guy is a person that brought this wave into the industry. So when you look at artists today who are like, bragging about their new villas or new cars or new apartments or new homes that they have, the person that invented this or the person that brought it into the industry as part of showing your bossness, your success by showing off what you own, was none other than Mopao Mokonzi. Sometimes when you look at artists today who, kind of want to disrespect him, and you already realize, these people are where they are because they came into the industry when it was already a wave. You can sell your mabangas, you can sell your songs, you can shoot videos of good qualities abroad and have them sold and you make money out of it. Also making contacts with prominent people. Koffi Olomide was amongst the first artists to know about this, that you can have contacts with prominent people who can eventually give you good contacts with other people that can buy your music or buy mabangas from you. People like George Weah. That time when George Weah now is the president of Liberia. but during that time when he was getting close to Mopao Mokonzi, he was a football player. So again, when you see artists today attaching themselves to famous people or famous sportsmen like Samuel Eto'o or Didier Drogba or Paul Pogba and so on and so forth, it is because people like Mopao Mokonzi initiated this. They made it known to the industry that you can get contact with public figures, people who are not necessarily into the music industry, but they are moneyed and they are well known and they are well connected. And this would eventually sell off for you as an artist. In general, before I close, the reason why I was doing an analysis about Boss Mboka, because now this post is actually supposed to be titled Boss Mboka, because it's actually the boss of Congolese music or of the Rumba Republic as far as music is concerned, because things that give luxury or things that give them fame or this boss kind of a look are things that were realized or invented by Mopao Mokonzi, that you can show off your Rolex watches, or you can show off your Maybach cars, or you can show off your Bentley cars, is because people like Mopao Mokonzi, when they were releasing the album Vidus, Vidus is an album I think he named after the car that he bought at that time. During the time where he bought it, he was, I think, there were only two people in the then Zaire that had the Vidus car. And this was like a highlight because it was it came with the plane and it was shown off and it was all over the place that Mopao Mokonzi is like the second person who has bought the Vidus after another prominent person who is not necessarily an artist. So these kind of things are things that the artists we have today got in and found out, that for you to be an artist is not about just making good music and getting known, but you also have to show your fame and how successful you are by, first of all, the kind of house you have, the villas you have, the cars you have, your materials. This person called Boss Mboka is the one who, brought in that sweetness, that morale, of showing off what you have or showing off what music has actually done for you. So we can all agree that artists who were there before Mopao Mokonzi happened, most of them that really died did not really die successful. They didn't die as rich people, in as much as they made very many good music, but they did not make money. They died poor, in not in a bad way, but they did not have money. But the artists that came after Mopao, realized that, I can sell mabangas, I can sell music, I can buy watches and cars and homes and, make businesses, even get into designs and other businesses that will generate extra money. To put the cherry on the top, Boss Mboka is also the person that also introduced paying the artist of his orchestra on a monthly payroll. Yes, that one we can brag about. I do not know if there is another orchestra that does this, but Katelate International is probably the only orchestra in the Rumba Republic that have their artists who are on a payroll. Boss Mboka is also the first artist who, shipped cars for all his artists after the concert. I think it was Bercy. After Bercy, he bought cars for everybody and it was shipped and it was a highlight and everybody had to know that cars have been bought for artists of Katelate International, and from there on, other patrons also followed suit. The appointment remains the same, the 6th of September at the ENG Arena in Brussels. Get your tickets via their website engarena.com or koffiarena.fr.